morning. I'm really excited to be here with you all. I'm not just saying that, I really am. I woke up this morning with a little extra pep in my step. But anyways, so basically we're going to be talking about gospel, we're going to be learning about gospel, we're going to be singing gospel together. And it's just an honor for me to be here to educate you in this beautiful art form. So basically what I'm going to do, I'm just going to let's share a little introduction and then we're going to dive right in. Is that okay? Yeah? Okay. All right. Okay, so I wanted to start with saying that gospel music is so unique. It is so special. It has restored hope and faith in God in countless lives since its conception. That's over centuries ago. And it is single-handedly, get this, responsible for the emergence of forms of American music like rock, country, pop, R&B, blues, jazz, ragtime. So also, I just want to say that we're going to journey through its legacy this morning. And I don't want you guys to just sit and be like, oh, okay, I'm going to be lectured and I'm just going to sit here. I want you guys to actually experience what I have to bring today. I want you to leave here a little different than you came in, and I want you to try to connect on levels that you haven't before, all right? So that's what I want to bring to you. Now let's dive in. So, gospel music. In order to understand gospel music, this incredibly unique form of music, we have to travel back to long time ago. So let's go back to 1700s. So during this time, obviously you're aware that massive amounts of Africans were being imported to America as slave labor. So let me start with this. Africans had a rich musical tradition, and it was common practice for them to express themselves through music. So basically it was a part of all of the important events of their life: birth, death, let's see, coming of age, marriage, religious ceremonies, festivals, social rituals, and they had complex scales, rhythmic syncopations, multiple time signatures, and themes and variations, for example. So now, here in America, two ways they express this: in camp meetings and in the fields. So, early on, slaves were not allowed to sing in church services of their slave masters, right? So they had secret worship meetings, and they would run off, and they would beat the drum, and they would dance, and they would sing freely. And this is where they would pour their souls out to one another, and they would share with one another their struggles, and their pains, and their joy, and their faith in God, okay? So, the songs that they sang were their own renditions of the hymns that they learned in the services. Now, singing and composing also took place on the fields, like I said. And these were the cornfields, the cotton fields, and then also later in other places, like when they were building the railroads. And we're going to see a little bit of that later. Now, these songs were referred to as field hollers, not hollers, hollers. Can you say that? Hollers. Like holla! Field hollers. Now, these songs are really important to mention because they are so closely related to the song sing in the camp meetings. However, they had slightly different content. Now, basically, the content early on, it had more to do with the conditions of the work and the forced labor. But as time progressed, it really centralized around that solely. And that is significant because that content and the rhythmic syncopations of the field songs, they were actually early blues. And this is really important because before now, Africans didn't have secular music. Everything was sacred. Everything was tied to the spirit. And it wasn't a Christian God, obviously, but everything was tied into sacred, way of life. And so basically, this is really significant because For the first time, you have a split. So now you have sacred and secular music. And so the field songs are going to turn into the early blues. Okay. So now we're going to jump into the characteristics. So this is really important because this is why gospel sounds the way it sounds. So there are these specific characteristics that Africans brought over, okay? So first, we're going to talk about the minor third. The minor third. Now, in Western music, we have these things called major and minor triads. Who's ever heard of those? Awesome, major and minor triads. Okay, so basically, I'll sing a major triad. It sounds like this. Do, mi, so. Minor triad. Do, me, so. So, as you can hear, the treatment of the third note determines what type of triad it's going to be. So I would like to play for you a clip. It's a sound bite of what it would have sounded like with this use of the minor triad. And this song is This Little Light of Mine. So did you hear that? It's kind of different, maybe, from how you're used to hearing it. So instead of this little light of mine, no, they said, I'm gonna let it shine. They flatted that third. So I actually want to do a demonstration. So can you guys stand up? You're going to sing with me right now. Go ahead and stand up for me. All right. Put on your singing hats. Okay, so I'm going to teach you this part. So listen to me first, and then go ahead and repeat. I'm going to let it shine. Try that. I'm gonna let it shine. Yeah. I'm going to let it shine. Try that one. I'm going to let it shine. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to sing the front part, and then when I point to you, you're going to sing, I'm going to let it shine. Here we go. This little light of mine. Come on. I'm going to let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine. I'm going to let it, oh, yeah, this little light of mine. Hey, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Give yourselves a hand. That was beautiful. So what you guys just did, you musically and vocally demonstrated the minor third, the use of the minor third, and that was very common. Okay, you guys can go ahead and be seated, but be ready to stand up again. All right, so now let's move on. Yes, call and response. All right, so this is another huge thing. You hear it today. You hear it today all the time in R&B, pop, all kinds of stuff. And this was another very common characteristic. So I also like to play another song that would be a song similar to what they would have sang in a camp meeting. And it sounds like this.
Taken
All right, so did you hear that? When you have call and response, normally what occurs is there's a leader, and they sing something, and then there's a group, and they respond. So that's what you heard in that sound bite. And that's what we're gonna do right now. Go ahead and stand up for me again. Okay, so, let's see. Why don't we try This Is the Day? Have you guys ever heard of This Is the Day that the Lord has made? Any hands? Yeah, it's pretty famous. All right, so actually what we'll do is we're gonna say Team A and Team B. Team A is gonna call and Team B is gonna respond. Now, you're not just repeating, okay, but you're encouraging. Remember, these people were encouraging one another and sharing with one another. So they were reminding one another, yes, this is the day that the Lord had made. Okay? All right, so why don't you guys face each other, if possible. I don't know, that's kind of hard, a little narrow in those pews. All right, so Team A, let's call you the Sparkles. Sparkles. Okay, Team A just sounds weird. Not like Sparkles doesn't. Okay, all right, so repeat after me. This is the day. This is the day that the Lord has made. That the Lord has made. Yes, I will rejoice. And be glad in it. All right, so now instead of you responding, you're going to be calling and you guys are going to respond. Are you ready? Let's try it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is, this is, yes, that the Lord, tell them, that the Lord, yes. And what? I will rejoice. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Yes, and be glad in, come on, and be glad in it. Oh, this is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Oh, yeah, here we go. This is together that the Lord has made. Awesome. Okay, you guys can be seated. Awesome. Okay, so let's move on to the next musical characteristic, repetition and moaning. And I want to point out that throughout these songs, you're going to hear everything, maybe minus 1 or 2. So repetition, we've already actually heard that. A lot of the songs that were sang in the camp meetings, well, a lot of repetition was going on because they weren't allowed to learn to read. And so what they would do is try to remember what they heard in the services, and they would end up just repeating a lot. And repeating the more important parts, okay? And moaning, oh gosh. So important. This happens a lot in gospel music, and it happened a lot, obviously, in the beginnings. It's just a direct connection to the soul and the depths of the soul, and it's just pouring out. So we're actually going to do some interactive singing with that too, but I first want to play the clip for you, and it sounds like this.
The Lord is my shepherd.
Did you hear that? It's very poignant. I mean, it's pulling and tugging at your heart, at least mine anyways. And so what I want you to do now, we're actually going to do a demonstration of that too. And but before I actually teach a moan, I want you to think of something. And everybody goes through something. Everybody has gone through something. You may not be going through something right now. However, I want you to try to plug into that and think about it, and think about how it almost destroyed you, or how it almost destroyed your family, or how it's just, it's just too much for your mind sometimes, or whatever it is. I want you to think of that. And then I'm going to teach you how to moan. All right? So go ahead and stand up for me. Think of that thing or those things. Okay. And we're going to implement some body percussion. Yes, they had drums sometimes. Even if they did have drums, a lot of the percussion, it was done by clapping, stomping, beating their chest, something. Even sounds and syllables from their mouths. And we're not going to do all that, but we're going to stomp, okay? All right, so first let me teach you a moan. Let's see. And I'm making all this up on the spot, so bear with me. Let's see. Try that. Yes, you have that thing in your mind? Let's try it again together. One more time. All right, go ahead and stop for me. I'm just clapping because you can't hear my stomp. You can clap too, yes. Now let's try the moan. Yes. All right, so when I point to you, you're gonna moan, all right? All right, here we go. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Oh, hold my hand, yeah. Oh, hold my hand. With you, I know I can make it. With you, I know I can make it. Awesome, awesome. All right, so you just experienced moaning. You probably do it sometimes, I don't know, but if you haven't, you just experienced moaning. You can be seated. All right, so up until now, I haven't been showing any work clips or any audio sounds or audio bites of work songs or field hollers because just for the sake of time, but I actually have one now. And yes, we're going to talk about harmony, rhythmic syncopations, and hand clapping, or listen and watch, really, not talk about it so much. But this is a clip that I found, and it is awesome. I'll let it speak for itself. So powerful. Oh my gosh, my insides jump. I can't help but to start doing some type of demonstration of a beat. Oh, so powerful. I love seeing that. Okay, so that was a demonstration of what would be called a work song, okay? So now let's keep moving on. So by the end of the Civil War, blacks suddenly had access to European musical instruments. They didn't have that before. So they were literally left behind on battlefields. Their owners weren't living anymore. So then, by the end of the 1800s, blues is born. So that eventually gave way to ragtime and jazz. Now, by the 1930s, these iconic forms of secular music began to influence sacred music. And so, can you imagine these rhythms of ragtime were adopted into new church compositions? This was like unheard of. And singing preachers begin to accompany themselves on piano and guitar. And the blues scale, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but that's its own special scale. It was actually integrated in church compositions as well. Which brings me to the star of the show, Thomas A. Dorsey. Now, Thomas A. Dorsey, he's referred to as the father of gospel. Basically, he is the father of gospel. And what he did was he homogenized secular and sacred music. And he put these two together, and he sang it, and it just, it changed things. And it went in places that it wouldn't have normally gone. So basically, what he did was he used the sound of the blues, and then he paired it with religious lyrics, and then he called it gospel. He's the one that actually coined this music gospel, so that's where we get the name from. So before they were called like jubilees, anthems, spirituals, but now it's gospel. So he co-founded the National Convention of Gospel Choirs and Choruses in 1933. And he did this because this is the only place they could sing, basically. They were shunned. They weren't allowed to be in churches because, oh my gosh, what are you doing? You're putting sacred lyrics to that jazz and ragtime? Oh, no, no, no. So he was actually ousted. He couldn't perform in churches. So they formed this convention, and then he teamed up with Mahalia Jackson. Who knows who that is? Please, I need to see at least one hand. Good, at least one. Mahalia Jackson, she is iconic. She's a gospel singer. So they teamed up, and then they ushered in what is known as the golden age of gospel. Okay, so I would actually like to play you a clip so that you can be introduced to Mr. Dorsey. That's not him.
If you can't talk to God, if you can't say something to your neighbor about God, if you don't know God, you need to start over again.
Well, thank God for Professor Dorsey. He's the only one that would dare to make gospel music what it has become today. He took the church music, spirituals, hymns, and pepped them up, put a rhythm to them, and called it gospel. He was the first one to write and publish gospel songs. Before Mr. Dorsey, they didn't call me gospel singer. I was just a spiritual singer, a revival worker. And he said, if you listen to me, you can go far. And he didn't want no second best. So he's rough as pig iron. He wanted you to be good or nothing. And you know, we didn't have the freedom to sing gospel in our churches. But Dorsey got us together and told us who we were. He was the first one to organize the Gospel Singers Convention. The convention came out of the people struggling, trying to get together. And Dorsey said, you get in here, we'll help you. And it made some of the best missionaries that you ever want to find.
They call me the father of gospel music. I started at Pilgrim Baptist Church right here in Chicago. I formed the first gospel choir, and I've been working with them for, oh my God, I don't know how long. Since I was a young fellow.
thank you, Lord, for last night's sleep.
I've always had struggles, but I didn't take them to heart and let them destroy me. I've been thrown out of some of the best churches. If they were good ministerial men, they would have helped me and not throw me out. But I got out on my own and went on through the world with it. And many, many people has been helped and saved by the gospel.
Bless each of us.
Riveting. Okay, I also have another clip for you, and it's going to give a little more about his background and what actually the catalyst to one of the most iconic gospel songs. And here it is.
I don't know anyone that has written songs as heart-searching as Thomas A. Dorsey. They come out of experience in him. That's what he says. There's no song that could equal Precious Lord. He wrote Precious Lord when he was discouraged and his spirit was broken.
Anywhere as in a revival, and my wife was to become a mother. I went away with the feeling that she'd make a lovely mother when I came back. I knew my people were well when I left home, and they sent for me to come to the door. As a boy brought me in the telegram. I took it and read it. I almost fell out. It says, hurry home. Your wife just died. I don't know how you would accept that, but I couldn't accept it at all. And a friend of mine put me in the car and took me right home. I got home, I jumped out and ran in to see if it was really true. And one of the girls just started crying and said, Nettie just died, Nettie just died, Nettie just died, and fell in the floor. The baby was left alive, but in the next 2 days, the baby died. Now, what should I do then and there? And then they tried to tell me things that would be soothing to me. But none of it's never been soothing to me from that day to this day. But two fellows come by, I forget their names, they were friends of mine. And they were telling me about it, and I says, I don't know what to do, and I don't know how to do. And I just tried to make my little talk to the Lord, but it was wasting, I think. And I called the Lord some one thing, and one of the others says, no, that's not his name. He said, Precious Lord. I said, that does sound good. And it's got several amens on Precious Lord. And ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, I started singing right then and there, Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, and let me stand. I am tired, I am weak, I am worn.
Oh my goodness. I almost want to cry every time I see that. Okay, so the next clip is of Mahalia Jackson. And again, this is who he teamed up with to usher in this golden age of gospel music. And she's going to be singing the same song, Precious Lord. Thank you. You're so awesome.
Take my hand, lead me on, and let me stand. I am tired,
You have to excuse me. So, in this song, Precious Lord, you can hear the musical characteristics that we've been talking about and singing thus far. And also, the lyrical content is reminiscent of the early forms. And I don't know if you've noticed, but this poignant song we just heard is inspirational. Gospel is inspirational. It is meant to inspire. So, for example, yes, you have trials. You are weak sometimes. Oh God, how am I gonna make it? I don't know how I'm gonna pay for next semester. I just got an F on this really important exam. My family is going nuts. I don't know what to do. I'm so tired. But God, if you hold my hand, precious Lord, take my hand, then I can make it. I can put one foot in front of the other, and I can keep walking. In you, I have my hope. In you, I have my joy. In you, I have my being. With you, all things are possible. And that is the message of gospel music. I'm going through, but God brought me out. Oh, the storm, but God is a deliverer. So if you don't walk away with anything else today, remember that. Remember that. Now, gospel has evolved over time because it continues to borrow from secular music. So as long as secular music is changing, well, so is gospel, because they're always borrowing actually from each other. This goes back and forth, right? So now we are actually going to demonstrate that with a song, and I want to know if you guys feel comfortable with actually coming towards the piano and standing up here. Let's see, how will this work? Yeah, come on up. Who feels comfortable? Everybody, great, come on, let's do this. Now, up here, I'm going to divide you into two groups because we're going to continue with the characteristics, right? We're going to do call and response, we're going to do repetition, we're going to do some moaning. So you guys are going to be talking to each other, you're going to be encouraging and inspiring one another. Come on closer, let's fill it up. Yeah, come on up. Yes. This is great. Okay. Some room over there. Okay, so let's create a divide. Right down this center right here, or I'm calling it a center. But anyways, okay, so I'm going to be at the piano, and hopefully you guys can see my little head behind all this. Okay, all right. So this song is called "The Sun," and I want you to repeat after me, everybody. The sun comes out in the morning. Inspirational, right? Yeah. Whatever you were going through, but the sun comes out in the morning. All right? Okay, so let's say it again. The sun comes out in the morning. The sun comes out in the morning. Trouble won't last always. Trouble won't last always. Okay, so listen to this. The sun, let me just make sure I'm in the right key. The sun comes out in the morning. Now, if you feel comfortable singing an octave below, be my guest. All right? But listen to that again. The sun comes out in the morning. You want to try that? Let's do it. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. The sun comes out in the morning. Yeah. Okay, now the next part. Trouble won't last always. All right? Don't be afraid of the run. Do it in your own way, all right? It's expressive, so it doesn't necessarily have to sound like mine, but you're expressing your soul, the soul realm, all right? So, trouble won't last always. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3. Trouble won't last always. All right, let's put it together, shall we? 1, 2. 1, 2, the sun. The sun comes out in the morning, in the morning. Try this. Oh yeah, put some stank on it though. Yes, yes. See, oh, do you feel that rumble in there? Yeah, that's what I want. That's what I want. That's what you want to communicate. Oh, it's hard. But yeah, it's going to come out. All right? All right, let's try that again. 1, 2, 3. The sun comes out in the morning. Let me hear it. Trouble won't last always. Let's do it again. The sun comes out in the morning. Trouble won't last always. Okay, so now the divide. So sparkles and alligators. Okay, so the sparkles, you guys are going to be the callers. That means you get to moan. They don't get to moan. All right? So let's try. Look at each other and let's try this out. Feel each other. Let's try. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. The sun comes out in the morning. Trouble won't last always. Yes, keep going. The sun comes out in the morning. Oh, give it to me. Trouble won't last always. Excellent. Okay. Now, what are you talking about? Why am I encouraging anyone? Because this goes first. Life is hard. It can leave scars. It can seem like you never get a break, but just wait and keep moving. Don't stop moving. Don't you stop moving. Oh, don't you give up. Oh, students, can you hear me? Don't stop moving. The sun. Yeah. So that's where you guys are going to come in, callers. All right? How's that sound? It's all right? You following me? We can do this? I think we can. You sound great. All right. So I'll shorten that a bit. Life is hard and it can leave scars. It can seem like you never get a break, but just wait and keep moving. Don't stop moving. Oh, you can make it, you can make it, you can make it, you can make it, 'cause God said, so don't you stop moving. have a minute and 10 seconds left. How does that feel? So, encouraging, inspiring. Yes, I'm going through something. I'm going through something too. Well, let's sing about it. What does God say about it? What does the Word say about it? What does He say? You guys are encouraging one another. And that is the message of gospel music. That's what it does, no matter how it sounds like. Remember, we talked about how it has evolved greatly. There's so many different facets now, but it remains the same as far as the lyrical content and the purpose. You're going through, but you're going to make it because God said you can. All right? The sun comes out in the morning, y'all. The sun comes out in the morning. Aren't you glad? What if it stayed the same all the time? What if it was one season forever? It never, no spring and no summer. It's only a season. So that's what you guys are telling yourselves, and that's what you guys are telling each other. All right, let's try it again. Let's just start with you guys. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2. The sun comes out in the morning. Woo! Yeah. Trouble won't last always. Yeah. Awesome. Give yourselves a hand. Awesome, awesome. All right, you guys can be seated. Thank you for joining me by the piano. I just feel like it's so much more intimate. Out there, you're just out there. So that actually concludes our time together. Did you guys have fun? Yeah? Were you encouraged? You might not have even been going through anything and you just feel great now. But yes, I'm glad. I love worshiping. I love inspiring. I love it. So this is the music for me. I mean, I love other music too, don't get me wrong. Like Glenn was saying, I was raised on jazz. I was an opera singer in college. I love it all, but I really love music that embodies the Spirit of God. It's so important. There's so much music out there. It's just music. But when it does something, and it does something good, because it can do something bad too, but when it does something good, it's awesome. And I just hope that I imparted gospel music, and you take a little of gospel music away with you. And yeah, just remember that it has many faces. It's not just all about choirs. And I mean, you guys were up there with me, so it sounded choiry, but that's not a choir song. But the main message.
We hope you enjoyed this message. Biola University offers a variety of biblically centered degree programs, ranging from business to ministry to the arts and sciences. Learn more at biola.edu.